Hey, it's Lily. Welcome back to another video, or hello if you are new. Today we are on episode 9 of my Planet Zoo speed build series, which I still haven't come up for a name yet, but I'm sure it does have a name. It will have a name by the time I post these videos. I just haven't published anything yet, and so welcome back to the series, whatever it may be called. Today I am working on the lynx habitat, which you might be able to tell, maybe not in these first few views, but the habitat is very large. I made it way too big. It's okay though, it fits, and that means there's just more opportunities for different viewing areas. And so today what I'm doing is working on a viewing area that looks into the lynx den. So on the other side, in the actual habitat, it's going to be a cave, and then on the outside for the guests, I kind of make this structure that's supposed to look obviously manufactured, but also brings in some elements of the cave wall texture and has like these big rock formations, and I like the way it turned out. At first, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't sure about it, but I kind of sat with it for a little while, and when I went back to look at it, I did actually quite like the way it looked. So I decided to keep it, and I will have a cinematic at the end of this episode so you can see the finished product just of this lynx viewing cave, because the rest of the habitat I don't go back to. I was working kind of pretty consistently on some of my beginning habitats, and then that's when I went and did all of the framing for my whole zoo, because like I said, I didn't want to get kind of lost in the layout of my zoo and trying to figure out how everything fit together. So I went and did that, and then I, come back to these front habitats and start working on filling them up and making all of the buildings like fully fleshed out, because one of the other things with this zoo is I wanted to try my best to make most of the building interiors actually like furnished and look real. So all of my like huge viewing areas, there's some hidden spaces. I know, like the concert hall, for example, the actual like stage and seating arrangement in the concert venue is behind a wall that just has some of the in-game doors, so they aren't transparent. You can't see through them. And so, it's kind of like a surprise if you're not expecting it to be furnished behind the walls. But on the flip side, I didn't do it for every single area, so sometimes you're gonna go behind a wall and there's nothing. Which also happens in the concert hall. So I made a door that's like, oh, the backstage area is through here. But I didn't actually make a backstage area. That seemed too far. Like, I am trying to have my zoo actually function and run, and I didn't want to get carried away. Like, if there's a section that is relatively simple to furnish, or makes sense that a guest would actually see this part, I guess that is kind of my metric. Like, would a guest actually see it? So generically, even though a guest who is staying at the hotel would obviously see their hotel room, it's not something that every guest has access to. You can't just go in any of the hotel rooms and see what they look like. So I didn't build any actual hotel rooms. I just put some doors and numbered them and, made it look like a hotel hallway, that you might actually see. And so same with like the concert hall. Guests aren't going to see the backstage, but they will, see the stage. you know, that every once in a while I just put a solid door in front of a bathroom. So that might be like kind of technically unfurnished, even though it just goes into a facility. But then like in other areas, there's, for example, in the Capybara Spa, I have a little spa room. And it's not marked. And the door next to it is the one that just has the bathroom facility in it. So you might not, I don't know. It's going to be easy for you to miss things in this zoo if you're just exploring it on your own, I think. So I guess my advice is tune in to the tour at the end of the series and make sure you kind of see all the nooks and crannies that I end up building. Or, you know, pay attention in the speed build. I think I have most of that footage, so shouldn't really miss too much. But yeah, here is my journey with this cave, and it took me a very long time. I really tried hard to make it look natural on the inside and the outside, obviously, because the guests are going to be viewing it from either end, but that was not the easiest thing to accomplish, frankly. So I did my best, and I do think it looks fairly nice in the end. I didn't know what I was trying to do. You know, it started with like, I just want some rock texture on the walls, and then it turned into a whole other thing where basically the whole thing is made of rocks. And I put them on the ceiling and everywhere. So many rocks. There's so many rocks in this cave. And you know, I don't know if I've seen the Lynx actually use it. I should probably check that they can actually navigate into it because it looks a little short. I should do that. If I have to change it, it will be like probably indiscernible from whatever happens in this video. I'm just gonna probably raise it a little bit, if anything. I don't know, the Lynx are pretty small. I feel like they could fit, but sometimes the game is just not having it in terms of some of the navigation. You know, like, I find especially they have a hard time getting over these aquatic rocks. When I sink them into the ground, sometimes it just messes with the navigation. Oh, now that I'm looking at it, I do have those two aquatic rocks right in the front. Anyway, I'll check that later, but yeah, I haven't seen the Lynx use it yet, so I wasn't able to get a shot. I'm also, look, I'm just gonna be real, okay? I'm not gonna spend forever getting the perfect shots of the animals when I do my cinematics. Like, seems like way too much work for myself, because it would be just a lot of waiting around for them to do something cute. And I just don't have that much time, frankly. I want to keep building and doing other things as well. So, yeah, the animals for the most part do cooperate in my cinematics. In fact, the Lynx in particular were great when I took their cinematic for their habitat, which is coming in a couple episodes. So, you know, I was worried initially because they were like towards one end of the habitat and it was a flyby shot going through the whole thing, so they were just kind of seen at the beginning, and then I was like, oh no, we're gonna pass them and we're never gonna see them again. But then one of them decided to run forward and like almost follow my camera for a part of the way on my preset path, which, you know, the root editor camera to film cinematics it can be quite finicky, and I can't, once it's playing, I just let it play, because if I move my mouse at all, it brings up the UI, and obviously I don't want the UI in the cinematic shot. That would be bad. So yeah, otherwise though, the root camera is doing a great job of getting me some like nice smooth shots, I think. I know some people just kind of fly through their zoo. But I can't seem to do that. You know, the explorer mode where you're like kind of stuck on the ground in the guest view, I like that mode, but it's just really, really slow, and so some of this would take way too long to explore. And also, some of the things that I build are not a great height for the actual guests. Like, they look okay, but from that camera explorer mode's like height, it can be difficult. Sometimes it just doesn't give like a good enough shot. If you're just like slightly taller at a slight angle, then you can just see way more of the zoo and the habitats and things that are in front of you. And so I don't know, sometimes I just don't like that camera mode. But if I don't have that camera mode on, I am flying all over the place. I'm really bad at navigating with the camera, I'm gonna be honest. You can't tell as much when I'm doing the speed builds, but sometimes like I hold shift down when I'm zooming in and out accidentally, and then I fly somewhere like I like zoom so far out that I don't even know, can't even see what I was working on anymore. And so yeah, I need the cinematic root editor camera. It's the best one for me personally to get the good shots. But that also means the animals do what they do, and I can't kind of pause and hold out and wait for them to do something exciting. You know, I did use the animal camera to follow the otters in the otter habitat when they were swimming underwater, and so I think I'll put that in with the otter habitat cinematic as well when we get to that episode. But yeah, that's how it's gonna have to go for me. I think the deer, actually, I also filmed the cinematic for the deer habitat, and they were cooperating pretty well also. There was one shot where like they were like standing in the perfect sun spot in like the field, I guess. Like there's a lot, it's a huge habitat, so there's a lot of like field space, and they were kind of standing just off the path in the sun, just perfectly, two of them grazing, and it was fantastic. I think I got some babies in there too. I made a mistake. I have a lot of my settings turned off, and I forgot. Well, I guess I didn't forget, I just never checked off birthing. And so a lot of babies were born in my habitat. I think I counted that there was like 18 capybara babies or something. It was so bad. I was like, I went to look at the habitat and I was like, why are there so many babies in this habitat right now? And then I counted them, and I'm pretty sure the babies outnumber the adults at this point. So a bunch of other animals had babies too. There was the butterflies went insane. I don't think I turned on managed population in that walkthrough exhibit because yikes, they went a little crazy. So yeah, now all of my animals are on birth control, but except the lynx, because they did have a baby at one point, but then it grew up and I released it to the wild because there were some overcrowding issues and I didn't want to deal with it. Otherwise, I think all my other animals are on birth control. Maybe the lions might not be, because I also just put them in. See, I don't want to turn it off completely because I like having babies in my cinematic shots. They're so cute. So yeah, we'll see what the outcome is for that. But for now, the video is just about over. So, thank you for watching. If you liked, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me, and check the playlist for more speed builds in the series. Hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye!